What's up, y'all? Welcome to Do You Boo Life Coaching. I'm your host, Boonith Kong, and this is episode 1, How to Deal with People with Opposing Viewpoints. Today we're going to talk about how to deal with people with opposing viewpoints. So the short answer is going to be, you got to ask questions, listen, accept what they have to say, and then move on. Like Elsa said, let it go. We're all different. We have different upbringings, different education, different religion, and the list goes on. So what makes you think that everyone is going to agree with what you have to say or even see things the way that you do? Oftentimes, people avoid having discussions with people when they know that the other person might have an opposing viewpoint because they don't want to kind of see them in that light, and they feel like it's going to cause a rift in the relationship. I do not recommend avoiding these conversations, especially when it's affecting your core values and you're up at night having anxiety. The only way to get through that is to have that conversation with that person and then handle the situation accordingly. So how to have these conversations? First, you got to ask questions. For example, why do you feel the way that you do? Why, if person A did this to person B, then why isn't person A being held accountable? And so forth. Why do you like ham and pineapple on your pizza? Whatever. And then once you ask the questions, you gotta listen. And I don't mean listen to respond, you have to listen to understand. Don't make these prejudgments of people because of what they're saying, because whatever they're saying, they're speaking their truth, and whatever you're saying, you're speaking your truth. I mean, minus some politicians, but that's another story. So listen to understand. Don't listen to just react and say, oh, you're wrong. And the key word to listening is curiosity. Listen with curiosity, with the open mind, like a kid-like mind where you're trying to investigate and do all this research. If you're having a conversation with someone and they said you came off rude, just ask them, how did I come off rude to you? I know y'all have a lot of situations where you're in where you say something and it's miscommunicated. And of course, that's all because, again, our upbringing. Someone might say this to someone and they might take it as a joke, whereas you say this to someone else and it's so rude, it's so disrespectful. So you just have to ask them and respect people's boundaries just like you would want them to respect your own boundaries. I had a disagreement with my friend. We had like a 2-hour long conversation, and of course, the political climate we're in, I just came off I felt like I came off passionate to him, but from his perspective, I was coming off as aggressive. So he totally shut off, and whatever I said, he was already trying to react to what I had to say without listening to understand. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna baby you in order for you to understand where I'm coming from. And then I had to check myself because I was like, no, now I'm starting to not listen to him and just react to what he's saying because he's reacting this way to me. And once, like the dust settled, or is it the dust settled? Once everything kind of calmed down, and I was like, you know what, I need to try to listen to understand. And I know when someone speaks to me aggressively, I shut down. And that's the same with him. So I can't be a hypocrite and have him be or have me speak aggressively to him, or that's how he interpreted it, and then he's reacting the same way, and then I shut off, so we're just like bumping head. So once we kind of calmed down, I ended up agreeing with him about 80% of what he had to say, and it was literally what I had to say, and I was like, dude, I just said that, but it's because we weren't really hearing each other out, and that is where a lot of miscommunication happens, because you're not asking the right questions and you're not really listening to understand the other person. So totally, I want you guys to have these conversations, these discussions with people who you feel like they might have a different viewpoint, because especially if there's someone that you really care about and you're just kind of on edge of how they might think of a certain situation, but that's them, and they see things differently. So you got to ask them, why do you see things this way, and then give your facts to them. And if you totally disagree and it just angers you to even be around them, then you can make that decision and set your own boundaries and maybe love them from afar. That's totally fine, because you don't want to have that toxicity in your body either. You can totally disagree with someone, respectfully and still love them from afar. That's totally okay. Also, these conversations really help you grow as a person. That's how we learn. When you disagree with someone and they tell you like, hey, like they give you a different perspective, you're like, wow, I didn't think about it like that. Instead of a lot of us being hard-headed and just be like, no, I'm always right. But you have to respect people's perspective, and if you and even if you see their perspective and you still don't agree with what they have to say, totally fine, because they're not going to agree with what you have to say either, and that's totally fine too. Like, why get upset with someone who has a disagreement with you? Like, you've never had a disagreement with anyone in your life. You never had a disagreement with your family member, with your mother, and you still love them. So it's okay to have these disagreements. So why get upset when someone disagrees with you? What is that going to do but cause anxiety and stress, and then you break out in hives? It's not good for you. You just gotta accept it. Right, so back to the point. So once you ask questions and listen, then you accept what they have to say. And if y'all still disagree, then let them know, hey, I totally disagree with you, but I understand and I respect you for having this discussion with me. Period. And then guess what? Move on. Let it go. Let it go. There's no need to be angry with someone just because y'all have a disagreement or you don't see things the way that they do. That's okay. You can only move on and take what you learned from the discussion. We can't change anyone, right? We can only change ourselves. So if your perspective is cloudy, change it. We can't force someone to see things the way that we do. We can have the discussion with them, give them facts and everything, and if they don't take it, then that's on them. They need to want to change. They need to want to see things from a different perspective. We can't carry on that burden. We cannot force someone to see things our way. So live your life. Do you, boo. Don't let disagreements hold you back. You're gonna have a lot of disagreements in your life. Don't hold on to what someone had to say. Because if you feel differently about it, why are you trying to hold on to what the other person's saying? You don't feel that way. So why hold on to it? Just let it go, right? It's not healthy to hold on to anger. It's poison. Get it out. Thank you, Akun, for tuning in. Live your life, live your truth, and remember, do you, boo.